Victims of sexual assault are often terrified of reporting their experiences to the police because of how insensitive the cases are addressed and the slow pace at which investigations are done. And when the matters do reach the court, victims are reluctant to continue with the matter because of how long it takes and how traumatizing the experience can be. These were some of the points highlighted by the Chancellor, Justice Cummins Edwards, in her remarks at the launch of an initiative which seeks to change the way the judiciary deals with sexual offences cases. Under a Canadian-funded project called Juris Project, which stands for Judicial Reform and Institutional Strengthening, a model guideline for sexual offense cases in the Caribbean was launched today in Guyana at the Pegasus Hotel. The Chancellor said with the implementation of these guidelines, she hopes that more victims feel safe to come forward with their reports.
We know too that because of these guidelines, many more persons will come forward. Not only will they want to come forward, but they will be treated in a way that will respect their dignity and their privacy. No longer will they be traumatized or re-traumatized in terms of giving their evidence in court, in terms of being subjected to cross-examination, even prior to that in terms of giving their statements to the police. We have on board the support services from the Ministry of Social Protection in relation to the Victim Support Unit to provide counseling and guidance to victims of sexual offenses. We also have on board from the various non-governmental organizations support services in that regard.
The guidelines outline internationally accepted best practices for the management of sexual offense cases, and it promotes a rights-based approach for the treatment of complaints and in dealing with vulnerable victims and witnesses. For example, the guidelines propose that if bail is granted to the accused, the court may impose conditions such as to restrict contact with the victim. Another recommendation is that witnesses require support before trial. The guidelines explain that if there is no formal care unit, then the supporter may be a friend or a relative. The launch of these guidelines coincides with the launch of the country's first sexual offense court, a courtroom designated solely for the hearing of sexual offense cases. Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali said the two launches also correspond with the government's review of its National Plan of Action to deal with sexual offenses.
Guyana is in the process of conducting a comprehensive review of our National Plan of Action for the implementation of the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Acts, and has initiated the resuscitation of the National Task Force for the Prevention of Sexual Violence. This interagency task force will have specific responsibilities for the development and implementation of a national plan of action for the prevention of sexual violence.
Meanwhile, social activist and director of the Red Thread, Karen D'Souza, said it is not the judicial arm alone that needs to play a part in addressing cases of sexual abuse. D'Souza said that it is everybody's business. Davina Samaru, Newsroom.